When Ruben Amorim first spoke to Manchester United, he told the club what he wants to build a squad. Players with intensity. 3 months later, that same message is being driven and repeated, and the evidence is becoming overwhelming when you look at how much intensity United's players are missing. Let's discuss Fabrizio Romano's latest on Amorim and United's focus this summer and what the club wants to do. Intensity is the buzzword. You might say that you're bored of hearing me say it. Well, I'm bored of United not having it. How about that? It's the first sort of concept that Amorim had when he came in 3 months ago. It's the same concept now. It will be the same concept in 3 months' time. It's actually part of a long-term vision for how to actually, take this club somewhere else, somewhere where we're currently not. What I'm going to do in this video is run through Fabrizio Romano's latest on our summer pursuits, the direction, Amorim's demands, and also have a conversation around intensity and what United are missing right now. It should be an interesting video. You can let me know what you think in the comments, as you always do. Now, on Twitter, after the Leicester game, I asked you all this. I was like, what do you think is causing United's lack of intensity? And for me, by the way, in terms of like the definition of intensity, that top one there, the quality of being felt strongly or having a very strong effect. I don't see intensity as United having to run around pressing everywhere 24/7 in a game. This is physically not possible. I see intensity as United applying themselves at 100% in everything they do, every duel, every tackle, every set piece, every pass, every shot, everything. And that's something we just don't see. But I asked you, what do you think is causing United's lack of intensity? Is it the tactics? Is it the fitness? Is it the mindset? Is it the mentality? Is it the confidence? What is it? This is what a lot of you said in the comments. I'll read through some of them. Adam, you're saying athleticism and fitness. They can't maintain intensity for any sustained amount of time, only in short bursts. They see the club is going nowhere. They know the players needed that were probably promised when they signed aren't coming. The cost-cutting and discontent, so you're angry with Ineos. RA saying when you shift a system, you're worried about every move until you get comfortable with it and it becomes second nature, which I very much think is Ruben Amorim's feeling. Confidence, says Gav. Mick, you're saying simply Ruben is using the rest of the season to experiment different players. They lack fundamentals. We don't have the creative midfielders playing with fear, lack of confidence. It's the mindset, attitude, pure and simple. And you can go on. There were so many responses and so many replies on here. I can't get them all in. But the main overall thing I'm taking away from that is there's not one issue here to do with this lack of intensity. And I go back to this video, which I did in November, when Fabrizio Romano said this. You can see the date down there, 15th of November.
What I can tell you on the market is that from what I'm hearing, the first indication from Ruben Amorim to Manchester United directors, to Manchester United management is we need to bring players with intensity.
That message has not changed. In fact, 3 months later, it's effectively a follow-up video repeating that exact same message. And I'll tell you what, there's so much mounting evidence that shows that that is what United are missing, have been missing for some time, and why it has to drive the transfers that we do. Now, we go through and we read some of this from Fabrizio's latest article saying, look, a quiet January could be good news for United. We'll see at the end of the summer. As they didn't spend money on loans and didn't proceed with any panic buys. And we go down here. Several players are expected to leave, including Casemiro, Eriksen, Lindelof, and Johnny Evans. Now, remember that Lindelof, Eriksen, and Johnny Evans, all their contracts expire. We're going to run into the same problems selling Casemiro this summer. We'll figure that out. The clear intention is to invest in young players with salaries in line with the new plan wanted by Ineos and trusting Ruben Amorim's idea as he keeps telling the club how crucial it is to bring in players who can give intensity to this squad, right? And the one signing that Ruben Amorim has made so far is, of course, Patrick Dorgu, who, look, I've watched plenty of him at Lecce. I've looked at his profile. I've done, I suppose, alongside Steve, we did our own little scouting report on Patrick Dorgu, and he ticks a lot of those boxes in terms of in and out of possession, in terms of how he commits himself, in terms of his athleticism. All the things that United don't have is what Dorgu does have. And it's exactly why we're getting linked already with a move for Giovanni Quenda. And I'd be almost surprised if United didn't make a move for him to sign him as the right wing-back. And then if you go further forwards, you're hearing, of course, that United are going to be looking at bringing in a striker, but also a player to play behind the striker. And you can have a conversation around Gyökeres, and yeah, you're right. He would tick that box. In and out of possession, he is a worker. He is a demon. Of course, he is an elite finisher. I question whether United are going to have the money to make a move for him. But I think when you have a conversation around the inside forwards is where, in my opinion, this is where United can make a noticeable difference, it feels like, in intensity. And I'm going to speak about a few players here. Not to say that we're going to sign them, but in terms of what they are doing. Now, Morgan Rogers, of course, left City, like so many players, to be fair, over the last few years, and has become a stalwart. This is his breakthrough season. And when you watch Morgan Rogers, the profile of Rogers, that player who's tall, athletic, has really good ball-carrying abilities, can squeeze through gaps, can hold up play when required, is a goal threat, is a creator, and does it every game to the same level. The consistency of Rogers is almost as impressive as his qualities. And then you look at someone like Matheus Cunha. Again, somebody who, just when you watch him, and I've watched him play and do this against United so many times, just the level of commitment at every aspect of his game is at 100%. And I'm going to pull up this example here, and it's not to say that I think United are going to be making a move for Joe Linton, but I think Joe Linton is the perfect embodiment of what intensity can give to you as a player. He was a striker at Newcastle, failed striker, got converted into a midfielder by Eddie Howe, and he's not the most incredible. He's not Jude Bellingham. He's not a Zidane. He's not an all-round incredible creative. Look, oh my God, how incredible this player is. But what Joe Linton does have, he plays at the absolute top of his capabilities. He's putting in 100% every single time, and it maximizes what he has on the pitch. And when you get played, like if you look at Newcastle's rise over these last few years, it's not because they've been able to go out and spend 100 million on each particular position and sign the absolute best players in the world, but the attitudes of those players, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, Anthony Gordon and others, it's a recruitment policy which has helped Newcastle probably skip a couple of years in the development by bringing in that intensity. And Nottingham Forest are doing it as well. And this is what Ruben Amorim needs, what Ruben Amorim wants, what Ruben Amorim said he wanted on day one when he came into United, and the message has not changed in any way, shape or form. Of course, there might be some who don't quite fit, but I think the Garnacho example here, of course, he now stayed at United. You can see down there, Garnacho started training exactly as Ruben Amorim wanted because he showed that level, the intensity. It's so fucking simple, man. That's what I mean about people probably being bored about this conversation that I'm having. Because week in, week out, you know what it is that United need to do, but you know that the change won't come. And if it comes, it probably won't be there next week. And that's the million-dollar question for Ruben Amorim. In his mind, time on the training ground is the most important thing. I think in his head, the players are too anxious on the ball. Instead of just naturally passing the ball off, they're thinking about when they receive it, where it's supposed to be going to, and who should I pass to and where should I be looking. They're thinking about the football too much rather than just playing it. So hopefully this week before the Spurs game and the week after the Spurs game will change that. But this concept around signing players with intensity, whether that's Diego Leon, who ticks that box, whether that's Patrick Dorgu, who ticks that box, whether that's Aiden Heaven. I'm unsure on Aiden Heaven, but I'm sure he will tick that box. And whether that's Giovanni Quenda, who definitely does, Victor Gyökeres, who of course would, and I mentioned Morgan Rogers and Matheus Cunha there, but you can see the players that we are going to be going for. This is how United build a squad. It's not necessarily going out there and spending 75 million in each position and signing the best in the world. We've seen at United that doesn't work, for us anyway. Build a squad of just not bullies, but players who will not be bullied. If you do that, you build the foundations, and then on top of that, you can build the creativity and all the technical. I suppose you've got to do both at the same time. But anyway, just want to do this video. It's an update on the November conversation, but it hasn't changed. It's the exact same direction and vision, and the exact same problems that we've had after Amorim's arrival. You can let me know what you think in the comments, and especially on that one there. What do you think? Go back up to the top of the questions. What do you think is causing that lack of intensity? Let me know.